Did you know that only 34% of American adults have an estate plan? I know it seems crazy, and I often wonder, why do so many people not have an estate plan? And I think that the reason that people fail to do estate planning is that there are a lot of myths out there about estate planning, why it's important, what it means, when you should do it, all those sorts of things. So today we're going to talk about what are some of the myths about estate planning. I'm going to help bust those myths for you. I'm estate planning attorney Mike Smith with Smith Barid LLC, and I'm one half of the estate planning guys. So let's talk about 5 myths of estate planning and why they're not true. So the first one is estate planning is only for the old people. Estate planning is only for older folks. I don't need to worry about that. Well, the truth is, we have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know about you, but I don't have a crystal ball. So I have no idea if tomorrow I might be involved in a fatal car accident, or I may suffer a brain injury that leaves me unable to manage my own affairs. So you never know what's going to happen. So if you have anyone that you love, or you have anyone that you're responsible for taking care of, no matter whether you're 18 or you're 98, you must have an estate plan. It's very important to have an estate plan so that if something happens to you, the people that you want are going to be able to step in and take care of you without having to go through a bunch of legal hassles. It drives me crazy to have to help families who did no planning and see the sort of devastation that can wreak for them when we have to go through a probate process of a conservatorship or a guardianship, or we have to probate an estate for somebody who didn't have a will. Because what happens in those circumstances is often not what they intended, and it takes far longer and costs more money than if they had a plan in place. So if you're interested in learning more about how we help families protect their legacies from probate, predators, and government intrusions, I wrote a free book titled The Ultimate Gift that lays it all out. If you'd like to pick up your free copy of The Ultimate Gift, simply click the link below, give us your address and a credit card for shipping and handling fees, and we'll ship it out to you free of charge. Read The Ultimate Gift so you can learn how to protect your family. So estate planning is not just for the old, it's for everybody. Anybody who's an adult 18 or older should have at least a basic estate plan. Myth number 2, I don't need estate planning because I'm not rich. Well, that's also not true. Anyone who owns anything has an estate. An estate is not the Biltmore. An estate is simply everything that you own. So no matter whether you are living in your car or you're living in an estate like the Biltmore, you have an estate. And it's important that you have a plan for what happens to that when you die, so that it's easy for your family to deal with distributing the assets out to the people that you want. They can make sure that they're following your wishes, even things like your medical care. So you may say, well, I'm not wealthy, so I don't need an estate plan. But guess what? If you wind up in the hospital and you don't have the right documents in place, then it may be that the person that you want to take care of you won't be able to, that they won't be able to make decisions about your health care. So it's important that you have these documents in place, even if you're not a Rockefeller, even if you're not a Kennedy, even if you're not fabulously wealthy. It's important that you have at least a basic estate plan in place. Myth number 3, I've got a will, so I'm all good. A will is one piece of an estate plan. It could be the centerpiece if we have a will plan. It's important even with a trust, but it's only one piece of an estate plan. And what a will is a set of instructions for what you want to happen with your assets when you die. So it does a few things. Number 1, it names someone who you want to be appointed as your executor. Now, very carefully say the person that you want, because the court could make a decision that that person might not be capable of doing it and appoint someone different. But you're telling the world in your will, I want this person to take care of me, of my estate when I die. I want this person to be responsible for wrapping up my affairs when I die. The second thing that a will allows you to do is it allows you to set out who you want to get what. So to make distributions to your beneficiaries out of your estate. So you can say, well, I want Johnny to get my house, and I want Sally to have the house at the beach, and I want my grandson to have my car. All of those sorts of things are what you can put in the will. So those bequests to the beneficiaries that you want to receive the assets that you've spent a lifetime accumulating. The third thing that a will does for you is if you have minor children, the will sets out who you want to be guardians for those children if something happens to you. So if you and your spouse, if you're married, or if you're a single parent, die, somebody's going to need to step in and take care of the kids. as a parent myself, I want to make that choice. I don't want someone else, a judge in the probate court, to make that decision for me based on whoever came forward and filed a petition to be appointed as my child's guardian. I want to make that choice. And the will is where you set forth, this is the person that I want to serve as the guardian for my child. All of those things are important that you set out in the will, and none of them require that you're wealthy. It's super important for any parent with minor children to have a will in place. Myth number 4, estate planning is only about what happens after I'm gone. So we just talked about a will and what a will does, and it takes care of what happens after you've died. A trust can do the same thing. But the other important pieces of an estate plan take care of what you want to happen if you become incapacitated. Incapacity in this context means mental incapacity. So if you have a stroke and you can't manage your affairs anymore, or if you develop dementia and you can't make good decisions about your care or your finances, the estate plan can address those issues with several documents. An advance directive for healthcare sets out who you want to make medical decisions for you if you're unable to communicate, and it allows you to give a specific set of instructions for what you want to happen if you need life-sustaining treatment. So if you need to be hooked up to a ventilator, or you need to have be fed by tube or other means, or if you need hydration by tube or other means, it allows you to spell out, this is what I want to happen in these circumstances. The advance directive also allows you to name the person that you want to have appointed as your guardian if you need to have a guardian appointed. So it is you telling the court, this is the person I want to take care of my person. This is the person I want to make decisions about my care if I'm unable to do so. Another important medical document is a HIPAA release. HIPAA is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, and it is a privacy law which restricts the amount of information that medical providers can share about you with some third party. And a third party could be anything from an insurance company to your family. And so if you don't have a HIPAA release that spells out, these are the people that I want to be able to talk to my doctors, they can't release information to your family members. They can't release much information. So it's important to have a HIPAA release that says, these are the people I want to be able to talk to my doctors and get medical information about me, if I'm in a situation where I can't handle that myself. And then the other important document for incapacity planning is something called a power of attorney. A power of attorney is a document that allows you to name an agent and say, I want this agent to be able to do the following things if I'm not able to. So you can say, well, this person can manage my bank accounts. They can pay my bills. They can deal with the IRS. They can deal with the Postal Service. Those are examples of the kinds of things that you can delegate to an agent if you find yourself in a situation where you're unable to manage your own affairs anymore. So it's not true that estate planning is only about what happens after you're gone. It's also about planning for incapacity, for mental incapacity, and having the right documents in place so that if you find yourself in that unfortunate situation, it's handled the way that you want it to be handled, rather than having to go through a court process and potentially having an outcome that you don't want. So our final myth number 5, is I can do estate planning on my own. So I hear it all the time. Why can't I just use one of these online services and get myself a will? Well, guess what? You can. You can also do brain surgery on yourself. You could watch YouTube videos and figure out, how to do brain surgery and do it yourself. Doesn't mean it's a good idea. Same thing holds true with estate planning. You can certainly do it yourself, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get what you need. The difference between working with a qualified estate planning attorney and using some online service to generate a will for you is that you're going to get a customized document that fits your particular circumstances. You're also going to get the expertise and knowledge that that attorney has developed over a career of doing estate planning for other people. And that attorney has seen situations where things didn't work out the way that we intended them to, or people didn't have a plan in place, and this is what happened. And so they know what can happen if you don't have the right kind of plan in place, or you have no plan at all. So that is the real value in working with an estate planning attorney. It's not about the documents. It's about the knowledge and experience that the attorney has in dealing with situations similar to yours and making sure that those families were well taken care of. So having an estate planning attorney involved in the process is hugely beneficial for you and your family to make sure that you get the plan you need and that it functions the way you want it to when something happens. But you can do estate planning on your own, and we'll be happy to clean up after you if there's a problem. So estate planning is about taking control of the future And you don't have to be wealthy. You don't have to be old. You shouldn't do it on your own. And it's not just about what happened when you die, but it's also about planning for incapacity. So if I've helped you understand why estate planning is so important and you're ready to get it done, click the link in the description below to schedule a free call with one of my team members who can talk to you about how we help families and how we might be able to help you. I'm Mike Smith, estate planning attorney with Smith Barid LLC, and I'm one half of the estate planning guys. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.